Hello everyone and welcome to Klein92 TV. As you probably noticed, this video is nothing like anything I've done up to this point. It's not part of a series or gameplay or anything like that. This is just me asking you guys a question, and I'm asking you guys in this video, which team should I use in my NBA2k14 My GM, which will be coming out in about a month and a half or so. So I have selected 8 teams, 4 in the East and 4 in the West. You guys can probably notice that they're all not good teams as of now, and that's the way I want it. So in this video, I'm basically going to go through an overview of each team and show you guys what are the ups of this team and what are the downs and what I would want to do through the series with that specific team. And once you're done watching this video, you guys can go into the comments and tell me which out of the 8 teams you want me to pick, because around a week before I actually start up the series, I'm going to go to this video and look at the comments and decide based on what you guys put down there which team I'm going to pick. So I have narrowed it down to 8 teams, but from here you guys are going to be the ones that end up deciding who I play as in the end. So let's go into the first team that I want to talk about, and that is the Los Angeles Lakers. After winning the NBA championship in 2009 and 2010, the Lakers have kind of been on a slump lately. Pau Gasol, Kobe Bryant, and Steve Nash are only declining at this point in their career. They're all getting older and thus losing some of the athletic abilities they had 5 or 6 years ago. So what I would want to do with this team especially is I would probably get rid of all 3 of those guys. So Pau Gasol, Kobe Bryant, and Steve Nash would probably all be traded away. And you guys are probably going to get angry at me for that, but Kobe Bryant in real life probably will stay with the Lakers for the rest of his career. But in game, I do think it would be cool to see what the Lakers would be like without Kobe Bryant and those other 2 guys. So when I trade them away, it probably would be for a good young player on the team I trade them to, and along with the first or second round draft pick. So the first season with the Lakers would be kind of a blow off season where we don't have our top 3 players and we're just holding on to the draft picks and the newer guys. But our second season with them, we'll probably have a dominant draft if we were to get rid of all 3 of those guys, and we would have a really good young squad. So the first season with them would be pretty lame, but the second one I could see being really fun to watch. Now the second team I'm considering rebuilding is the Nuggets. Now, as of the time of this recording, I think the Nuggets have the best record or the second best record out of all the teams I chose, and they're probably the best team out of all the ones I chose. So the first season with them will be pretty good, and they do have a good overall team, but they're missing that one player, the over-the-top player that basically leads them in a deep run into the playoffs. So what I would be doing with this team is I would be holding on to guys like Wilson Chandler and them, but during the offseason I would probably have to release or trade away a couple guys. That way I could get a big name. I think I may try to get like Carmelo Anthony or Kyrie Irving if they don't re-sign with their teams. So that is my basic plan with the Nuggets, just to get a superstar player with them and then build a team that is centered around that superstar player is basically all they really need to make a deep run into the playoffs. So if you guys want to see a season where the team has a fast rebuilding process where they're pretty good at first and then finally get that one thing they need to put them over the top and get good quickly, the Nuggets would be the team you want to vote for. Now the third team I'm considering using is the Minnesota Timberwolves. And you can tell just by the look on Kevin Love's face in the picture how good of a team they are, and the answer is not good at all. I don't think they've been in the playoffs for quite a while now, and if they have been in it, they haven't gotten far at all. And the main thing I would want to do with the Timberwolves is I obviously do want to keep Kevin Love because he is their star player, and I do think he's a good all-around player. He can shoot, he can box out, he can do a lot of things, but I'm not a big fan of Kevin Martin. Even though he's a good offensive player, I do think his defensive skills are really lacking. And the biggest problem that I see with the Timberwolves is basically depth, because if you look at their top 5 players, you will see that their top 5 players are just as good and if not better than some top 5 players on teams that have made the playoffs in the past and that are making the playoffs now. So my main goal with the Timberwolves would be to basically just rebuild their backups, and their starters do not need that much improvement. And the final Western Conference team I am considering using in my NBA 2k14 My GM is the Utah Jazz. Now, if you guys saw the Jazz, you know that they're already in somewhat of a rebuilding process. They have Derek Favors as of now, and he is a player that I do want to keep on the team, and I do think he will be a good player in the future. Now, I would like to get another tall power forward or center. That way we can be more of a team that has 2 really good forwards, and then we can build all of our guards around them. So I probably have the simplest plan for the rebuilding of the Utah Jazz. It's basically just getting some better centers and power forwards, and then just getting some decent guards. I'm thinking thinking maybe someone like Kyle Lowry or someone like that I would be willing to trade a couple draft picks for. So the Utah Jazz, much like the Denver Nuggets, will have a pretty quick rebuilding phase. So now I will move on to the Eastern Conference, and the first team I want to talk about there is the Cleveland Cavaliers. Ever since the Cavaliers lost LeBron James, I think around 3 years ago, you knew that it would be a while before they got good again. But then they got a guy called Kyrie Irving, who is shown right there in the picture, and he is by far the best player on the team, and they actually do have some good players on this team. They recently acquired Luol Deng from the Chicago Bulls, but the team does have its drawbacks. They used to have Andrew Bynum, who was paid way too much money, and he didn't do enough, so they ended up trading him away. And it is very difficult to look over the bust of Anthony Bennett. He has done nothing this entire season, and he is definitely a player that I would want to trade away at the very beginning and probably try to get some bigger guys, some centers and power forwards, much like the Utah Jazz. The big issue right now with the Cleveland Cavaliers is whether or not Kyrie Irving will re-sign with them during the offseason, and that's going to be a big issue for the team. So the first year, I'm probably going to do some big trades just to get the team to be better. That way Kyrie Irving will re-sign with them, because if we have a bad year that first year, there's no way Kyrie's going to re-sign with us. So that's basically my goals for the Cavaliers. Start off good and get rid of Anthony Bennett. The second Eastern Conference team I am considering using is the Milwaukee Bucks. Out of all the teams I've shown you, the Milwaukee Bucks have the worst record. They are just a terrible team. Their best player is OJ Mayo, who I don't know much about, but I'm pretty sure he's overpaid after looking at him on ESPN. He is someone I definitely want to get rid of, but they do have some good people that I want to hold on to. I want to hold on to Ilyasova and Brandon Knight, mainly because they're both pretty good outside shooters, and I feel like if we were to get some star players, then when the star player were to get double teamed or something like that, they would be the person that the star player could pass to. Kind of like how LeBron James has like Shane Battier. When he gets double teamed, he's always able to give it to Battier, who will make a three or something like that. I think that can be the role that Ilyasova or Brandon Knight can take the place of. And speaking of LeBron James, I do think the Milwaukee Bucks are the one team that I would be willing to sign LeBron with during the offseason, mainly because they do have a good amount of cap room if I were to get rid of OJ Mayo. The third Eastern Conference team I am considering playing as is the Orlando Magic, and the Magic are a pretty young team. Their best player right now, in my opinion, is Victor Oladipo, but they do have some good players on the team. Players like Jameer Nelson and Aaron Aflalo are guys that I would be willing to keep short time, but they are not guys that I want to have on the team for a long time. Players that I would want to get on that team would be ones that could feed Oladipo the ball, because I think Oladipo can be a scorer on the team. I think he can be the top player as the team progresses. So the Magic would be a longer team to rebuild, mainly because the whole offense will be run through Oladipo and him getting better as a player. So we're not going to be getting that many star players with the Magic. And the final team I have to show you guys is the one and only Charlotte Bobcats. In case you guys have not been following the NBA over the past couple years, the Bobcats lately have been just an atrocious team. This year they're finally picking it up, and I think they have like an 8 seed in the playoffs, but up to this year they've been just terrible. There are some players that I do want to keep on the team. I am a huge fan of Michael Kidd-Gilchrist and Kemba Walker. They are both guys that I think are top players on the team and can later lead this team to a championship. There are some players that I want to get rid of as soon as possible. Guys like Cody Zeller and Ben Gordon I do not like whatsoever, and I want to get them out of this city as quick as possible. It sounds a little harsh, but that's just my feeling towards the players. But I do think once we get those guys away and bring in maybe some draft picks or some more experienced guys, considering how inexperienced the team is, the team could get good pretty quickly. People don't give the Bobcats the credit they deserve sometimes. So that is the last team I would like to talk to you guys about. Remember to put in the comments which team you want me to play as, because in a month and a half, this video will probably stay on this channel no matter what, but in a month and a half, I'm going to look at it once, and once I look at it, that'll be the end, and whichever comments are there are going to be the ones that I decide from. So put the team name you want in the comments. I hope you guys had a fun time watching this video. I hope you guys have a great day. God bless you guys.